Hey y'all, Enzo here. Welcome to the show. This is Knox Knife Mods, and tonight I'm talking about some of my favorite Christmassy slip joints. Kind of a goofy topic, but you know what? It's going to be fun, so let's get into it. All right, y'all, before we dive into these slip joints here, quick whiskey check tonight. It's Buffalo Trace, just good old Buffalo Trace. Getting harder to get bottles of just regular old Buffalo Trace, which is crazy, but this was a gift from Wolfman Walsh, so big thank you to him and his Christmas spirit. And basically what I wanted to do here, I know this is kind of a silly topic, but I just wanted to talk about some knives that I tend to gravitate to during the Christmas season. Of course, spending a lot of time running around and going to different gatherings and seeing family and friends and stuff. And a lot of the time I want to carry something that is a little more either low-key or maybe is more kind of something that people are accustomed to seeing and they feel comfortable around. And I don't know anybody that doesn't feel comfortable around a slip joint. So I do tend to carry a lot of slip joints this time of year. And that kind of brought this topic in mind. So the other side of it is, these are my 5 favorite Christmas slip joints. I want to hear your 5 favorite Christmas slip joints. If you're a YouTuber, please throw up a video and let us know you threw it up. We'll be happy to, kind of put the word out that you did a video. If you're on Instagram or something, shout us out on there at Knox Knife Mods, and we'll share that too. Just think it might be kind of a fun topic to get into. And it doesn't have to be Christmas. It can be any kind of. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It can be any kind of holiday season. But yeah, for me, Christmas is definitely a knife-centric season for me, if that makes any sense. So before we get further into it, though, I do want to do kind of an honorable mention here. And that is the knife I was carrying today. This is a Case Granddaddy Barlow from 2005, I'm pretty sure is when this one came out. I love this one mainly for this gorgeous gray, black, green bone on this handle. I think it's absolutely stunning. I think the jigging is really wonderful too. Very barky kind of texture, and it's just lovely. Really like that hot dog shield as well. Walk and talk on this is pretty darn good. It's a little bit light, which I usually expect from Case. They tend to have a lighter walk and talk than, say, GEC. But still, it's really nice, really reliable. As far as wobble goes, like a hair, but nothing I would worry about. It's about the same wobble I get on my GECs. Yeah, really lovely piece from Case here. This is currently available on eBay. There is one on eBay right now for 115 buckaroos, and I think that is an excellent price. So be sure, if you're into this knife, go hop on eBay and look for it. Just search Case Granddaddy Barlow. It'll come up. You're gonna have to do some digging to get to it, but it's there. Now, the other thing I want to bring up is my favorite way to carry a slip joint is this clip slip from Lancelot Leather. If you go to edcroundtable.com, edcroundtable.com, you'll find Lancelot Leather there, as well as a bunch of other awesome vendors. And you could put our code in, KNOX, K-N-O-X, for 10% off. Now, that's not every vendor, but it is, I think, most vendors there accept that code. But I do want to shout out Joe over at Lancelot, because he makes these wonderful clip slips. If you're a slip joint collector and you want to be able to carry a slip joint where it's a little bit easier to get to it rather than having it buried in your front pocket, this thing is wonderful. A lot of the time for my larger blades like this, I'll back pocket this, but for something that's a little more straightforward, yeah, it'll get the front pocket. And look how wonderfully it fits in there. So yeah, I am a big fan of these clip slips, and yeah, they're just wonderful. So yeah, wanted to give our buddy Joe a shout out. These things are great. So yeah, so this is my honorable mention here. Now, it is a bit large for for kind of, just go opening presents and stuff. I mean, this thing is quite a beast. Definitely bigger than a steak knife. But I love it. I love this knife. And typically, I prefer large knives. But again, around the holidays, I'm around, a bunch of kids too, with my kids and my cousins if I see them and stuff. And also just family members that aren't accustomed to knives. I always prefer to have something that's a little smaller. So let's get into the main the main 5 here. Again, that was Case Granddaddy Barlow 2005. I don't know much more about it than that. Look for this bad boy on eBay though. Okay, let's dive into it. We're going to go, I haven't really ranked them. These are just 5 that I like. And we're going to just go through them from affordable to more expensive. In case you're wanting to buy any of these, because these all are kind of available. The pricing up here gets ridiculous, but we'll get to that. So first up, we have an Imperial Barlow. This is a USA-made Imperial Barlow, made in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island. These are everywhere on the internet. They're easy to get, and they're very affordable. And this one at least is, I got this one at Smoky Mountain Knife Works in their old knives section, which is, man, if you get a second to go up to Smoky Mountain Knife Works, which I live about 20 minutes away, so I do go there pretty often. But they have obviously an excellent selection of knives, but they have a really cool section of the store called Old Knives, where they have used knives that are very antique, very vintage. And this was one that I found there, and it is just in absurdly nice shape, almost like new. Other than basically some of the tarnishing on the brass here, on the liners, it is just unbelievably well preserved. So this is a Barlow, of course. Imperial also had Barlows that were not made in the States. This one is made in the States in the way that you can tell if you look at the tang stamp there. You see Imperial, Prov, RI, USA. It's pretty straightforward. Don't know what the steel is on this. It doesn't take an especially nice edge, so I'm imagining it's just something, that was made to be cheap and stainless, is what I would guess. But the fit up on this is unbelievable. Out of all the slip joints I own, from case to GEC, this has the best, well, how do I put this? The sturdiest, and I don't like to say lockup with a slip joint, but that's what I'm going to say here. The sturdiest lockup. This thing feels rock solid, and it blows my mind for something that was probably made in the 50s or the 60s. So our main blade, of course, before I keep moving here, our main blade is this classic Barlow clip point. Very straightforward. No swedging, nothing ornamental going on here. I do like the long pull, but no kind of jig or anything on there to help get your finger on it. It's just a straight up long pull. And then the secondary blade with a nail nick is just a straight up pin blade. So very straightforward knife, no frills here. I do really dig the Barlow stamping. There's all kinds of different Barlow stamping on the bolsters that you'll see. This one I like a lot, just all caps, no nonsense. The handles are saw cut Delrin, but this is, visually I like it. I like that deep rusty red, and again, that's another Christmas thing to me, is it's kind of that warm kind of fall color, holiday color. It looks really nice, but in terms of the way it feels, it does not feel great. It feels very plasticky. Now, if you compare that to, say, the kind of Delrin feel that you'll have on an old timer, a Schrade, that's much better. This is kind of but still, I do like it visually. I think it's kind of interesting to look at. So these can be had anywhere from $20 to $50. $50 one will get you a really good shape, about like this, which is, I think I paid about $40 for this at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. But yeah, that's the Imperial Barlow. My first pick here, most affordable, easiest to find. These are everywhere, man, and they're cool. Really cool to have a vintage piece of USA-made knife history. That's really awesome. The Imperial Barlow. Up next is the Buck Creek Bobcat Congress. I'll show you why it's called the Bobcat here. Look at that blade etch. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's fun. This is made in, it says German, so I'm assuming it's made in Solingen. I do not know. I don't know if it's made by Boker. I don't know who produced the knives, but they were made out of, I believe they were made out of Kentucky. The company, Buck Creek, was based in Kentucky, had the knives made overseas. As you can see, though, it's a 4-blade Congress, which is fun. If I'm going to have a Congress, I want it to have a bunch of blades in it, so I'll open these all up here for us. Got kind of a sheep's foot thing going, or a ram's foot thing going on here. Same over here on a larger blade. Back that off a bit so y'all can see it. Oh, there we go, and we got one more. And all nail nicks, no long pulls, but God, my nails are short right now. This is difficult. I'm going to cut my hand getting that one out. Let's do this one different. Come on, you. Oh my God, the pull on that one is absurd. There we go. Okay, so everything's out and visible here now. As you can see, it's basically entirely ram's foot / sheep's foot. blade shapes here and one pin. Now, what I'll say is this thing's kind of half and half on the blade wobble. The Bobcat blade wobbles. The penknife does not wobble. This ram's foot does not wobble, but this one does wobble. So whatever, it's not much, and it's really not much that I've even noticed it in use. Get a closer look at that Buck Creek shield here. It's fine, not really a big fan. It's just a logo shield. Not super attractive to me. There's a lot of case logo shields that I find very attractive. I always prefer it though if we can have something that's more, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't shout at you. I don't like text on my shields. I just like a straight up shield. Obviously we have an arrowhead here with the Northwoods. Every now and then Case will do a shield without text. I love that. But also in this one, I'm a big fan of the tested XX shield. I think that's cool. This one, however, I don't like the font, and I don't really care for just a plain old circle. I would be more interested if it was an actual shield of some kind, and not just a circle. But again, it's not a big deal. What is interesting about this one, let's go ahead and close these blades up. I think y'all probably had a good look at them. What is interesting about this one is the handle material. This is buffalo horn, which you can see here. You can see the grain of the horn there. That really surprised me, and especially with this funky laser etch thing that they did to it. And I got this one at Tennessee Cutlery in Farragut, Tennessee. And yeah, I just saw it on the wall, and my buddy Johnny, who worked there at the time, pulled it out for me to take a look at, and I was like, what is that? He goes, that's buffalo horn. And I was like, that's strange. I can't imagine laser etching buffalo, which it seems like it had to have been laser etched. It doesn't feel like it was shaped like this naturally, but I do not know. But anyway, because of this color scheme, this feels kind of, kind of Oktoberfesty, kind of Christmassy. It's made in Germany. It kind of has that vibe. I do really like it, actually. I can't help but wonder how it would look without the etching, just straight buffalo horn. I feel like I would probably prefer that, but still, I do like this. Really different, really funky and interesting. This one, the fit and finish on this is not so perfect. The handle the covers sit proud in some areas. There's one particular one, where is it? I'm gonna find it. That's pretty big gap. I'm saying it. Now here it is, this one right here. I'm sure y'all can see that. That's quite a gap right there. But I'm willing to forgive that for what I paid, which I think was like $30. I'll let that slide. Transitions honestly aren't terrible, and you can see there's no serious gaps in the back spring. So pretty fun Congress, man. Congresses are cool. I just love looking at them from the top down and seeing all this insanity. And as far as I can tell, let me check this one. I don't think there's any blade rub on this Congress, which is very notable. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So you can get these. Now, there's none in this particular cover material, but I have seen them. They're available right now on auction sites with normal, like bone covers, as well as stag. The stag one was going for about $150. The bone one was going for about $40. So it's a very affordable slip joint, made in Germany. So it's going to be good to go. I'm not sure on the steel. Again, I just don't know. Let's see if I can take another look. The main stamp, yeah, it just says German stainless handmade. So no real answer on that steel. Let's look. Yep, German stainless handmade. Yeah, they're not going to tell us what that steel is. Who knows? With Germany, I would guess, and I could be misremembering my steels, but in 4116 a German steel or 4011. Let me know what y'all think. You guys probably know more than I do on this. If anybody knows what kind of steel Buck Creek tended to use, please shout us out in the comments. Same thing for the Imperial here. If y'all know what kind of steel Imperial was known for using, please do let us know, because I have no idea. Probably wouldn't be that hard to figure out, though. I should do my homework. One thing too, while we're back on this one, I'll point out no crazy gaps on the back springs here. As I said, this thing is absurdly well fit. The lineup on the tangs is not perfect, as you can see. The blade tang does not meet the back spring at all, really. It just kind of drops. But a knife from the 50s, 60s, or 40s, whatever this is, that doesn't really bother me. Okay, so moving along to, honestly, if I had to choose a favorite out of all of these, it's probably going to be this one. I love this knife. This is a Case Large Stockman, an emerald green bone with a kinfolk jig. I love everything about this knife, and I got lucky with this one because, I'm sure you guys know with Case, you really want to buy them in person, in store, because you may get a home run or you may get a bunt. And this one, I got very lucky, it was a home run. And I said when I held it, I'm like, there had to have been a master on the bench that day, because this thing is wonderful. We'll start with the blades. It's always the best place to start. Being a large stockman, we have a large clip point blade here with a nail nick. I love that this is a recent blade. I'm not going to sit here and do the math, but I think it was like a 2021 or 22. I'm not sure. But it just has this 2020s era Tang stamp. I really love the font on that. I think it's really cool. I did do some of my own kind of mod on it. I satin rubbed the blade as well as the bolsters with just kind of a directional grain. I just think it looks a lot nicer. I've always been a fan of that look. Gives it a little more of a custom-y kind of feeling. But yeah, so the main clip point there, of course, we have the, whatever you want to call this, a Warncliffe sheep's foot, ram's foot, whatever you want. I'm not an expert on that. As you can see, there is a mark here from blade rub. With this one, honestly, it doesn't bother me because everything else about this knife is so perfect, and the way these blades are fit in here, it's almost like blade rub is unavoidable with this. But again, that same finish. This is probably the least used for me out of this set of blades, but still, great shape, super utilitarian, great for those draw cuts, And then lastly, we have this really nice spade. Now this one, you can see, does have a rub when you try to pull it out, but super useful shape. I love spades, one of my favorite blade shapes. And the walk and talk on all of these are cam tang, as well as the Imperial and the Buck Creek also were on cam tangs. Walk and talk on these is really nice. A good case cam tang makes me really happy, and these are great. No play on any of these blades, just wonderfully fit up. And they sound great. I love the sound on this knife. The spade is a little different because it has kind of a 3/4 stop right there with no real talk. But yeah, it's a real affirmative stop right there. And then it cams down. So yeah, definitely, I love this knife. It's not perfect, but it's really well done. I love the color. I love that tested XX hot dog shield. If you want to call that a hot dog, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what type of shield I'm even looking at. I love that shield though. Love the jigging. Jigging's a big deal to me. A good jig on the right color of bone is like hearing the angels sing sometimes, and this is one of them, man. I love the jig on this. No gaps on the back springs. So yeah, this one I think is out of production. Of course, you can get Case Large Stockmans all day long. There is one of these right now in this configuration on eBay for I think $115 or $110, which I think is a fair price. I want to say I paid $80 for this one back when they were in production. But yeah, it's a great knife. That Case Emerald Green. Again, obviously, reason I like this one for the holidays. It's the color, man. That emerald green. Come on, man. That's a beauty. Now, it is a bit large, and like I said, I do prefer to kind of go smaller around the Christmas time. But still, I just love that color so much, and it just really gravitates me toward that Christmas spirit. Yeah, just a wonderful knife. Now, that's one thing I will say, though, before we continue, about slip joints. And another reason I like them for kind of I'm stumbling over my words here. For gatherings, for like family gatherings or friends or whatever. If you're handing a knife to somebody that is not a knife person, everybody knows how to use a slip joint. Now, the downside of that is the blades, of course, don't lock. And this one has a bit of a lighter pull on it. So, if somebody was doing something they really shouldn't be doing and they accidentally brought that blade down, they could cut themselves. That's the only issue with slippies is, there's no lock. So you really, kind of want to make sure the person doesn't do anything silly or stupid with it. But like I said, everybody knows how to operate one. So that's a plus. If I could, I probably should be grading the walk and talk on these. Pulls on this one are they're pretty light. I would say about a 5. I like it a lot. I don't mind a light pull, and that's something that I kind of expect from Case. I tend to expect lighter pulls from Case. Pull on that one's 6. This one, all about a 5, except for that one blade, which is about an 8. The pin on that one was about an 8. So moving along here, GEC. This was my first GEC. This is a number 14 or number 15, can't remember. Lick Creek Boys knife. Beautiful ruby red jig bone. That's just absolutely pretty. This one used to have a patina, but it looked ugly on this little handsome knife, so I polished it off. And now it's got this wonderful shiny finish. I think it's really, really pretty. And blade steel on this one, of course, $10.95. And on the case, obviously, case is True Sharp, surgical stainless. But yeah, this one's $10.95, so it will patina if you get yourself one of these bad boys, which we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so what drew me to this knife was that beautiful jigging pattern. Really like that jigging, and the ruby red color of it. Beautiful, Christmassy, holly kind of red. Main blade is this big spear point blade. Not big. This is a small knife. Probably about, what is that, about 2.5 inches with a 2-inch blade, I would say. So yeah, small knife. It's a little thing, but it'll get some work done. It's not a slouch. Nice long pull here. Big fan of that. I like the swedging toward the tip. I think that's really pretty. Tang stamp, of course, is the Titty Cutlery Tang stamp. Nothing crazy going on this side. Walk and talk is nice. It is a half stop. Let y'all hear that again. Pull's about a 5. These are all pretty easygoing knives. And let's do that secondary blade. It is a pen knife with a nail nick, also in $10.95. And pulls a little bit lighter on that one. I'd say it's a 4 on that one. But the walk and talk is still good. Y'all might hear my dog shaking around in there. So yeah, of course, this being a GEC, fit and finish is really good. No gaps in the back springs. How's the blade wobble on this one? Not really. That's like a microscopic amount. That doesn't even count. And let's check the pin. None on the pin. So really good. So if you're interested in this knife, I don't recommend it. They're not making these at the moment. You know, you can wait around. GC might do another run of 15s or 14s or whatever the heck this is. There's one on eBay that is a single blade version in the exact same configuration, just no pin blade, going for $300. Do not pay $300 for this knife. That is stupid. And if there's one criticism I will levy at GEC, and I've always been very, like anybody cares about my opinion, but I've always been very vocal about my thoughts on this. I'm so tired of GEC doing this short, limited run, hype train kind of releases. I'm tired of it. I got this when you could still get GECs if you wanted one. You know, this one sat on the website for a while before I bought it, and I paid $80 for it. And now they want a user on, you know, an auction site wants $300. That's absurd. Don't do that. Find yourself a GEC that's a reasonable price, and you can find them on the auction sites. Don't let yourself get scalped. This will come back around. So yeah, don't stress on that. If this is what you want, just wait a little while. I'm sure they'll do another run of it. Or if you can't wait, man, I guess pay the $300. I don't know, but it ain't worth $300. So yeah, really for me, this is a really good one actually for Christmas time because of the size. It's just very user friendly, and the color is just so cheery, and I don't know, I like it. It's a very bright, fun little knife. The Lick Creek Boys knife. Lastly, one of my favorites, man. These two here really are. They take the cake for me. This is a Northwoods Heritage Jack. I managed to snag this one on the drop this year, which was this year or last year. I don't know. Extremely lucky. But I've put my own, as Greg over at Smoky Mountain Knife Works would call it, I've put my own pork patina on it. It's just from cutting food. Now in this case, it's a lot of citric fruit, like apples and oranges and stuff. But I adore the way this patina came out. And if you deal with 1095 a lot, you're gonna know your patina is just, there's no guarantee on how it's gonna turn out. Sometimes they're bright and colorful and beautiful, and sometimes they're kind of like this layered kind of dark patina, which I think is really beautiful in its own right. And then sometimes they're just ugly, like what happened on this one. So I just, I got lucky on this one. I love the patina this is taken. So as I said, this is a Heritage Jack. Handle material is burlap micarta. Beautiful, beautiful burlap on these, man. Just so much layering going on there. I mean, you could just stare at that for a while. It's very deep. A lot to look at, a lot of colors going on. In the right light, there's even some blues in there, which is really cool. And very tactile. I think they finished it to the right amount. It's not over polished. It feels really good in hand. When these came out, I want to say they were $140. Now, I don't even think it. I wouldn't spend as much. It's $500 to $600. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth that. If you're wondering if the knife is worth that much, absolutely not. It is not. Please don't spend that much money. Again, you can find, if you get lucky, it does require a measure of luck. You can find some deals on the Northwoods, but yeah, there's luck involved for sure. Again, though, these are produced by GEC, but like GEC's main line, the hype is just too much now, and the limited release is just too much. But if you pay attention, go on to some of the Facebook groups, particularly around Knives Ship Free and Northwoods Knives. It's easy to keep track of when a release is going to drop at the Knives Ship Free website. And when it does, if you're there on the dot, you will get a knife. You will. Just try not to get like mammoth ivory. Go for something, a little more in the pocket, like burlap micarta. Nobody, the mammoth ivory is going to be the first thing gone. So please, if you just want a Northwoods, get something a little more straightforward is my suggestion. Anyways, guys, so big spear point blade here. I love the size of this knife. Again, this one's on the larger side. It's kind of pushing the line of what is, quote unquote family friendly or whatever. Certainly family friendly for me, but it is a large knife. But I love that blade shape. The handle's probably my favorite part of it, but honestly, just the combo of both looks extraordinarily good to me. Made in the USA, of course, as is the case, and the GEC here, which I don't think I mentioned that. The fit and finish is wonderful. It's a GEC produced knife. I do like that it doesn't use brass liners. Does this one? This one also has just stainless steel liners, or what nickel silver, whatever it is. This looks very custom to me. I've always admired that kind of a look. Perfectly flush back spring, no gaps. Transitions on the micarta to the bolsters is very nice. Another thing I really enjoy is that you have this really rounded handle. So this thing it feels like, it's almost like that broomstick style handle that you would see on a, who was famous for that? Was it Loveless? I don't know. It wasn't Bill Moran, was it? Y'all history buffs, man. Y'all knife history buffs. Please let me know who it was that was like really known for their broomstick style handles. Super neutral, feels great in hand. You have, of course, the classic Northwoods arrowhead shield there. Yeah, what more is there to say? It's just a beautiful knife. So again, this one, kind of like the Buck Creek one. It's a little less, just straightforward Christmas. It is very fall. It kind of has that fall feeling, that rustic brown burlap micarta. But again, I kind of extend that into a wintry kind of thing. So I do tend to carry this one a lot around the holidays. But yeah, guys, I guess that caps it off. This was my five favorite Christmassy slip joint knives. Just a wonderful time for knives, man. It's you're buying knives as gifts, or maybe you're getting knives as gifts. It's a good time to be a knife guy. If you have any questions, if there's something I missed that I didn't cover, please shout it out in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. As I said, these are all available. It just depends on how much you want to pay. I don't recommend these two for what they're going for. I definitely recommend these three for what you can find them for. So, guys, this has been Enzo with Knox Knife Mods. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you haven't subscribed, please give it a subscribe, or give us a subscribe. Please give the video a like. And myself and Wolfman Walsh will see you in the next one. Peace.